Tidbits from TNT, Monday morning, September 23, 2024. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. TNT. Tishwash. Al-Sudani meets in New York with the Yemeni president and the Kuwaiti crown prince, stressing the depth of relations. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani stressed, on Sunday, when he received Yemeni President Rashad Mohammed al-Alimi in New York, Iraq's keenness to support Yemen's stability. The Prime Minister's media office said in a statement received by Shafaq news agency, Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani received this evening, Sunday, Baghdad time, the chairman of the Presidential Leadership Council of the Republic of Yemen, Rashad Mohammed al-Alimi. On the sidelines of his participation in New York in the meetings of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The office pointed out that the meeting reviewed the overall internal situation in Yemen, the surrounding regional situation, its developments and its impact on the region. According to the office's statement, al-Sudani pointed to the depth of the historical and fraternal ties that unite Iraq and Yemen, stressing Iraq's keenness to support Yemen's stability, the importance of finding solutions through internal dialogue, and providing appropriate conditions for the brotherly Yemeni people to enjoy prosperity and development. For his part, al-Alimi welcomed the reopening of embassies between the two countries and considered it a supportive step to strengthen fraternal relations and support communication between the two brotherly peoples. In addition, the media office noted that Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani received this evening, Sunday, Baghdad time, the Crown Prince of the State of Kuwait, Sheikh Sabah Khalid al-Hamid al-Sabah, in New York, on the sidelines of his participation in the meetings of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Al-Sudani stressed the depth of the fraternal relations between Iraq and Kuwait, which the government has established in its program that includes strengthening relations with sister Arab countries and strengthening the bonds of cooperation with them in various fields. The Prime Minister stressed Iraq's keenness to advance cooperation with Kuwait and develop it in a way that achieves bilateral interests. According to the statement, the two sides stressed the resumption of the work of the joint technical committees between the two countries. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani also met, this evening, Sunday, Baghdad time, at the United Nations headquarters in New York, with the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk. A statement from al-Sudani's office received by Shafaq news agency stated that the meeting discussed the qualitative development witnessed by the human rights file in Iraq, as al-Sudani confirmed that the government views the Universal Periodic Review as an essential mechanism in promoting and protecting human rights, noting that Iraq will discuss its fourth periodic report in January of next year after it voted on it in the last cabinet meeting. According to the statement, al-Sudani stressed Iraq's commitment to human rights standards, as a party to international agreements and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, appreciating the efforts of the human rights team working within the UNAMI mission in Iraq, and the breadth of measures implemented by the Iraqi government to preserve the rights of minorities and spectrums of the components of the Iraqi people, and to provide assistance to victims of terrorism and the dictatorial regime. The Prime Minister stated that Iraq has succeeded in establishing a successful experience in the field of transitional justice, and the government has proceeded with the legal and executive framework for all human rights principles, in accordance with the Iraqi constitution and approved international standards. For his part, the High Commissioner indicated the Commission's desire to open a representative office in Iraq, in order to raise the level of cooperation in the field of capacity development, technical, economic and social cooperation, and in the field of the environment, according to the statement. Tishwash. International finance. The Central Bank of Iraq is a model for developing strategies that serve the development of the banking sector. The regional director for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Lebanon and Iraq at the International Finance Corporation, IFC, Fawaz al-Balbazi, confirmed today, Monday, that Iraq is one of the first countries to adopt a comprehensive approach to governance and environmental and social accountability, noting that the Central Bank of Iraq is a model for developing strategies that serve the development of the banking sector. Al-Balbazi said in a speech during the launch ceremony of the Financial Sustainability Map project and the Environmental, Social and Corporate Governance Standards Guide for Banks. which was attended by the correspondent of the Iraqi news agency, INA. Iraq has provided humanity with justice and law. And it is not strange that it is one of the first countries to adopt a comprehensive approach to governance and environmental and social accountability. Indicating that this new achievement comes as a result of the strategic partnership between the International Finance Corporation and the Central Bank of Iraq in cooperation with the Kingdom of the Netherlands in our joint efforts to develop an advanced Iraqi banking sector that contributes to Iraq's sustainable future. He added that the achievements that we celebrate today are a very important step for the Iraqi banking sector towards establishing sound practices of environmental, social and corporate governance standards that are consistent with international standards and rules, where they are not just a reference framework for celebration, but rather a systematic approach achieved by the banking sector, noting that environmental and governance standards have changed the environment and governance of the institution, and are a standard for professional excellence and have become a basic requirement for managing and reducing risks and thus financial sustainability and business prosperity. He continued, "Today, this event gains great importance in light of Iraq's confrontation with the challenges led by climate change, which requires approximately $233 billion until 2040 to respond to the development gaps necessary to move towards sustainable economic paths." He continued, "Environmental, social and corporate governance responsibility is not only a statement of transparency, accountability and fairness, but also essential components of responsible investment strategies committed to sustainable practices and ethical standards in all financing and investment decisions. The Iraqi banking sector represents the provision of the necessary financing to meet its nationally defined goals in Iraq. And all of this highlights the importance of the role of the central bank, led by Ali Al-Alak, in achieving this goal." He pointed out that, with the development of the banking, financial and operational sector's capabilities over the past years, this achievement is complementary to other initiatives led by the central bank, the latest of which was the launch of the national strategy last May. He pointed out that the central bank is a model in developing strategies that serve the development of the banking sector in a way that reflects positively on the external view of the banking system, and makes it a tributary that enhances sustainable development in Iraq, expressing his thanks to the government of the Kingdom of the Netherlands for their support in reaching this achievement, and to the central bank team and the International Finance Corporation whose tireless work enabled us to reach this achievement. Tishwash Al-Alak announces a roadmap for financial sustainability for the Iraqi banking sector. The governor of the central bank, Ali Al-Alak, announced today, Monday, a roadmap for the financial sustainability of the Iraqi banking sector, while indicating that this map is part of the efforts to upgrade the banking sector. Al-Alak said in a speech during the launch ceremony of the Financial Sustainability Map project and the Environmental, Social and Governance Standards Guide for Banks, "Today we are addressing an important and fundamental aspect in developing the banking sector in Iraq, as the term environmental, social and governance standards has witnessed turbulent growth since its first launch in 2005, indicating that the environmental aspects and the response related to climate change are major factors driving the development of environmental, social and governance standards, in addition to the growing importance of other essential elements, especially social ones." He added, "If these standards are important for any economic entity or company, regardless of its activity, mission and products, then their importance to the financial sector is a matter of utmost importance. Given the significant impact that social and environmental changes have on the reality of this sector and what is required to manage it according to regulatory, supervisory and technical rules that avert risks to guarantee the rights of shareholders and stakeholders within a framework of transparency and disclosure, and above all, to contribute to achieving financial stability, the repercussions of which are reflected in the economic and social environment and general stability, just as the environmental and social repercussions are reflected in stability." He stated, "We are pleased to announce a roadmap for the financial sustainability of the banking sector in Iraq for the years 2023 to 2029 and social and institutional standards," noting that this project is part of the ongoing efforts made by the Central Bank of Iraq to advance the banking sector based on international best practices as well as keeping pace with developments in the banking industry. He stated that, With this announcement, the Central Bank of Iraq is the first in the region to implement this guide. Al-Alaq praised the role played by international experts at the International Finance Corporation, affiliated with the World Bank Group, and their effective contribution in preparing the roadmap for financial sustainability for the banking sector in Iraq, appreciating the effective and ongoing partnership and fruitful cooperation with the institution. He thanked the fruitful and distinguished efforts of the central bank's work team, as well as the support provided by the Kingdom of the Netherlands in this context to push towards helping Iraq implement these important and necessary programs. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: Dinar Recaps.